Hello YouTube, my name's John, and today I'm going to do a little overview for a mod for Doom 2 called the Space Pirates. Now, as far as I can tell, this mod was originally announced back in 2013, and the most recent version, 0.1.2e, was released in 2014, and you can probably guess what I'm about to say after having said that. Yes, the mod is no longer in development. I think they actually announced that in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Which is a damn shame, because I've actually found the design document for this mod, and there was a lot of really awesome stuff planned for it. But at least we have something, and that something is pretty damn fun, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit lately, so why don't we just go ahead and dive in, and I'll show you how this mod works. Let's go to my favorite testing map, map 27. Now, it's worth noting that I am running this mod with GZ Doom version 1.8.5, because that was the version of GZ Doom that was available when this alpha was released back in 2014. I actually don't know if this mod will work with the most recent version of GZ Doom. I haven't really tested it, but I just figured I'd choose this just to be on, you know, the safe side. So, anyway. So in the Space Pirate, we're playing as a character named Melody Crossbow. She is one of many characters that were planned as playable classes, but unfortunately none of them ever came to fruition, and I'm not even sure if they really fleshed out Melody here the way they wanted to, but nevertheless. As far as who Melody is exactly, I actually don't know. I mean, there's not really much lore about this mod. I mean, I do know that she's a kung fu badass, and let's actually go ahead and talk about that, because that's actually one of the most significant things about this mod. So, in this mod, there is a kung fu fighting game combo system, and it's pretty badass. So if you do primary fire, you got your punches. You can also do kicks with secondary fire, and you can actually combine these into combos, just like I said. So like punch, punch, kick, or punch, kick, punch, punch, kick, kick, or kick, kick, punch, 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 or punch, kick, punch. I mean, you get the idea. I mean, you can do all sorts of crazy things. In fact, let's just go ahead and, yeah, I have God mode on. Let's just go ahead and demonstrate this real quick. We got a bunch of specters over here. Let's just unleash them. Come on over, fellas. It's just so damn satisfying. And yes, of course, there are berserker packs in this game, so that just makes your melee attacks all the more better. But that's not the only thing you can do. So you can actually go to your customized controls. There's a whole section for the Space Pirate down here. And you'll notice there's a key called Special/Melee, which I have set to Q. What that does is this. Now you might be wondering, what the hell is that? Well, let me show you. If you press Q on an enemy, it does this. You can literally pull people to you. Come here! Now this literally is a fighting game. Get over here! But not only that, hold on, let me just redo this map real quick. Not only that, but you can also do different techniques with your Q ability. So like if you do Q and primary fire, you'll actually push enemies away. Let me see if I can demonstrate that. Come on. Oh, that was a bad example. There we go. There you go. You can kind of see what's going on there. Yeah, so you get the idea. You can push them away. Not only that, though, there's a whole other... Actually, you know what? I can just show you right here. So check this out. If you press Q and secondary fire, you can pull yourself to them. Now, as you might imagine, certain enemies are a lot harder to melee to death because they just don't have a high pain chance, I guess you could call it. They're really hard to stun. Let's put it that way. So, you know, you kind of have a little risk versus reward sort of situation here where you can save a lot of ammo and beat the crap out of a demon, but, you know, an Arachnotron might not be the best target for such a thing, but unless you have a Berserker pack, then they are the perfect target for it. Anyway, let's just go ahead and give ourselves all the weapons here. Let's go over that. So as you saw earlier, we have a pistol. Pretty standard type of thing that you would see in a Doom mod, I would say. You can see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen that I have 15 rounds in my clip. It fires just about as fast as you can pull the trigger, but you can also hit secondary fire, and that activates rapid fire mode. Pretty nice, but again, that's 15 rounds, so it's a pretty short burst. But pretty handy, nevertheless. Then we have the shotgun, which is also one of the most signature weapons in the game. So, it normally fires the way you'd expect. and with 8-round clip, so to speak, clip, you know, for lack of a better word. But there's also 3 different ammo types, or actually I guess there's 4 if you include standard, but there's 3 special ammo types you can get with a shotgun. And you can press alternative fire to cycle between them. Let's start with shock shells. So shock shells probably do what you'd expect, but let me just go ahead and demonstrate. Now you can also step back and have a wider range of it. But I think actually being closer is better. More concentrated. And that can actually one-shot certain enemies, so it's pretty nice. Let's do Hellfire next. So Hellfire is quite interesting. You can actually do a straight projectile shot. Like that, but if you press your Q key, your special / melee key, you can actually break apart the projectile while it's traveling, like so. Does quite a bit of damage too, I have to admit. And then of course there's poison shells, which you can probably guess what this does, but I'll go ahead and demonstrate anyway. Now this actually can hurt you, as you can see there. It's kind of like the Immoral Conduct gas, although it doesn't last nearly as long, and it's not quite as overpowered, but it's definitely pretty strong, and it'll help quite a bit. So, yeah, this is definitely one of the more useful weapons in the game because of how much ammo you can use. But keep in mind, like, when you're swapping between your shells, you have to stop, load them up, and then do that. There's also a key set up for you can actually drop your current shells if you ever want to, like, pick up an extra type of ammo. Like, let's say I want to grab some more of these poison shells, so I can just do like that, drop all of my buckshot. So I definitely have plenty of room for that. And then, but look, you can actually pick it all back up, as you can see. But you have a maximum, of course, unless you pick up a backpack. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, you just gotta be careful with your reloading, because you're caught reloading right now, so you gotta be really strategic as far as, like, you know, when you reload and when you swapped ammo, because you can't shoot in that period of time while you're doing that. So anyway, so next up, of course, we have the Uzi, as you actually see right here. It's pretty much the most standard weapon you could think of in this mod. I mean, it's just a rapid-fire Uzi. Not to say it's bad, though. I mean, it's got a 50-round clip. It's very reliable. In fact, I find myself using it a lot when I have some special ammo loaded into here that I don't want to waste on standard enemies. Like, you know, I got all my shock shells loaded up here. I don't want to waste them, so let's just swap to the Uzi and use that instead. Pretty handy. Also, when you pick up certain weapons, she likes to make little clever quips about it. Although she didn't do it that time. Let me see if I can have her actually do it. Hang on. I bet I can get her to do it.
Time to find out why they call it spray and pray.
And she says that for every weapon type. Hold on.
It's a good day.
She said, it's a good day to die. Now this, actually, let's just go ahead and go over this real quick. This is called the Toolbox. Let me go ahead and actually type in that cheat properly. This is called the Toolbox. This is basically your rocket launcher of the game, as you probably guessed. It's got a 5-round clip. But the really interesting thing is the alternate fire. So when you do alternate fire, oh yes, by the way, there's different flavors of zombie, as you can see here. Sometimes they're Marines. And sometimes they have machine guns. Anyway, this is the alternate fire of this weapon. Kind of like a flat cannon from Unreal, although, I mean, it's got like some kind of, you know, bouncing off walls properties, as you can see there. But it's not quite a flat cannon. I mean, it's still affected, it still has like 0 effect on gravity. It can just travel through like a missile. But it's pretty damn powerful. Like, it's actually kind of BFG type damage. Okay, maybe not quite BFG, but still pretty strong, nevertheless. So, yeah. And then, of course, we have the Crossbow. Now, this is sort of a long-range, accurate type of weapon, where you can just, as you might have guessed, snipe your foes. Actually, let's give you a better shot at this. It's a little dark in there. Alright. Now, there's 2 modes of fire. There's standard. But there's also explosive tips, where you can do this. And that just kind of, after delay, explodes. Now, the other cool thing is that these are all voxels, actually. Voxel sprites, kind of like in Duke, or I guess more like Shadow Warrior in Blood. All cool stuff. The explosive ones do the same thing. But of course, don't be near them when they explode, because they will hurt you. But they can do quite a bit of damage. Also quite powerful. But yeah, there you have it. Those are all the weapons. We got pistol, shotgun, crossbow, Uzi, and the toolbox, which leads to a total of 6 weapons. Now, that might not seem like very much, but I mean, again, this melee system's still pretty damn strong. And there's plenty of shotgun types of ammo to use. I mean, there's still a nice amount of variety. That is just so satisfying. Oh yeah, this is also worth noting. So, amplifiers give you basically Duke Nukem style, you know, night vision, for lack of a better word. I guess that is pretty much the exact word, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but, you know.
Time to find out what
The Uzi does quite a respectable amount of damage, though, so it's not to be underestimated. But yes, as you can see, there are different flavors of zombie. Each of them do different things. And you may or may not have noticed there's actually some different flavors of imp back here, too. Some of them have no spines and move quickly. Others are slow, but do a lot more damaging attacks with their fireballs. It's all just RNG, you know. And they all make creepy sound effects. You know, because just why the hell not? Now, you'll notice also that there's a lot of ammo being replaced by certain things just because, you know. Because since there's no plasma weapons, I think those are often replaced by different shells or different things like that. It's all pretty randomized. All the ammo is pretty randomized in general, so just worth noting.
it's a good day to die.
Now the AI seems a little bit smarter, because sometimes these guys can outrun me and flank me a little bit. So you gotta be careful sometimes. Basically what I'm saying. See if I can punch out some more powerful adversaries here. Although without a berserker pack, it's gonna be kind of difficult. There we go. I just kung fu an archvile there. And sometimes you just gotta finish them off with a gun. But yeah, as you can imagine, it's way more effective when you actually have Berserker. But yeah, that's pretty much the mod. There's not much else to talk about. I mean, let me just see if there's... Oh yeah, so you can bind a key to... I have it set to Z, where you can, like, no matter what weapon you're holding, you can just immediately switch to your melee. So maybe I'm like... like so. So that's not too bad. I'll take that, thank you very much. Oh yeah, so while you have a weapon out, you press Q, you do like a little quick melee attack. Which works like that. So I would argue that this is a game that's all about, like, you really have to be tactical. Like, you can't necessarily be Rambo. Like, you really have to consider each room carefully and then, you know, attack it accordingly. So I've, like, cleared out everything else. We had this one guy left over, so I meleeed him. I softened up my targets with this. Sometimes I'll soften up the targets by using some shock shells just to kind of, like, give them a little bit of damage and then finish them off with melee. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. It's nice to just have a little pile of different ammo types. This is really handy because, like, you'll find that you'll when you hit the cap for a certain, like, type of shotgun, you can't pick up any other types. Even if I'm, like, full on buckshot, I can't pick up shock anymore. Let me see if I can demonstrate this. Alright, so that's quite a few. Although that's not a good example. But yeah, I mean, like, just depending on... Or, let me see. I think there's some other shells around here. Maybe not. But yes, that's something to keep in mind. Like, you want to have that key handy for when you need to, like... If you really want Hellfire shells, for example... But you just have way too much buckshot, then You might just, like, drop a lot of your buckshot. Make sure you grab all the hellfire you want. And then just pick up the rest of the buckshot. Yeah, all these shells will be here waiting for you, so at least you got that going for you. And there you go. Well, I think that's pretty much everything. This is the Space Pirate. Again, a world of potential and a lot of fun, a lot of good tactical combat, some feel-good combo systems, and just a lot of cool ideas being floated around here. But yeah, oh well, at least we get to have something for it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, later.